I really miss my old desk setup. Really miss it. So this is the first review I'm making from my new place. Probably not going to stay here for very long because there's a multitude of problems with it. But I needed a place where I could finish my thesis after my lease ran out, so I'm here for the time being. But I wanted to talk about this today. This is the VE Asura 2.0. Now, this is a, I would say, middle of the line earbud in their repertoire because you have the Monk, which is $5. Then you have the Zen, which is $150. This is in the middle at 78, around the middle, yeah. So you have these, right? Now, what are these exactly? Not many people have talked about these compared to the Zen, or especially compared to the Monk, because Monstrop's loss dropped like 5,000 something monks. Okay, lots of people have a monk now, so they know what the V sound signature kind of is, and they know where the direction is that they're going. They know you can get great quality out of $5, but what about this? What about $78? First thing I want to tell you, you can see I have the foams out there. That's because you can use the foam on these. You couldn't use the foam on the Zen, in my opinion, because it just distorts the sound too much, makes it too muddy, in my opinion. Even the donut foams, which have a hole in the middle, even those don't do good. You just want to leave those bare. These you can put foam on if you want to, absolutely. So how do I distinguish this from my Monk? Because I have quite a few Monks now, and the Zen. Well, first of all, the Zen has a red cable, that see-through red cable. So this has a black cable like the Monk, which is also double-ended and stuff, so pretty durable. So no worries there. But the shell design, this is how you can tell. This shell has the old VE, I think that's a URL on it. Yeah, it's a URL printed right there. The Monk, what the Monk has now is like VE Monk written right on the shell. And that is honestly the only distinguisher between this smoke shell and the Monk smoke shell. So if you receive this, just from the outside you can tell it's an Asura by the URL, the smoke shell, and the black cable. Beyond that, if you plug it in, you'll find out, yeah, you can tell this is not the Monk because this thing is 150 ohms. The Monk is 64 ohms and the Zen is 320 ohms, just for clarification. So 150 ohms, right? You might be thinking, damn, that's no. Why would you want to get 150 ohms? Well, it sounds good, and okay, you can't really plug this into a smartphone and listen to it properly. I'm telling you, I've tried it. It doesn't sound good. It sounds too thin, which is funny. Even when you're talking about these headphones in general, the sound, if it gets even thinner, you really don't want that, guys. Trust me. However, if I plug it into my Ebasso DX80, now I know it's rigged up to the roundabout 2 plus right now. Sorry. So if I just take this off, if I use it with the phone out of my Basso DX80, it sounds great. It sounds fine. So this has a little bit of an amp in it, like very slight amount. And basically what I'm trying to say is DAPs that have a slight amp in it, they can handle these just fine. You can get loud enough just fine. I know driving stuff is beyond going loud because, just for quick clarification, you can't, just because something gets loud enough doesn't mean it's being driven properly. If you plug these into your cell phone, you'll hear the sound being quite thin. You'll hear the sound being a little distorted too, because the mids don't sound as good as they should. If you plug it into this, you'll get a lot more body to the sound. But just if you want that extra 5%, trust me, it's only 5 to maybe 10% extra sound detail and extra sound body. You'd have to use a portable amplifier just like this one. Now this is far, far different than the Zen, because the Zen is on 320 ohms. If you plug that into your cell phone, forget it. If you plug it into the phone out of this, yeah, it'll get loud enough if you go up to like 100 and something volume, but it sounds maybe 70% as good as it could. 70%, not enough in my opinion if you want to listen to the Zen. Just, get a portable amp, get your actual amp, and power them properly. If you got the ohms out of the way, what about the sound characteristic? Because, alright, the Monk is $5, right? Everyone praises that. The Zen is $150. Everyone praises that too. This is what Lee calls the ignored little middle kid. Sorry to all the middle kids out there. I have a couple of cousins who are like that too. Um, if you're in the middle, you're overlooked quite a few of the times. So, but this holds its own in a category which I will try and describe to you guys now. So first of all, let me just use this little chart thingy, graph, whatever you want to call it, where I try to map out what exactly the sound differences are. You got the Monk Plus, right? So the Monk Plus has a slight bass boost to make it more fun for more genres of music. And you have the Zen 2.0, which has just a naturally very bassy, mid-bassy sound. It has more warmth and body, and has a full size. It kind of feels like I've said in my review. It kind of feels like a full size headphone, more than an Earbud, which is quite an achievement for an Earbud. So that's the Zen. This is the Monk. Where would the Asura be? Well, the Asura would be right here. Actually, maybe a little more to here. So the Asura, what it has is a lot of clarity. Now, clarity is something you're probably thinking, well, my Monk sounds really clear. What are you talking about, man? And my Zen sounds clear too. What are you talking about? Well, the thing about what this has over those guys, this has a more lean sound to it. So if you're listening to, let's say, orchestral music, the strings will pop out a lot better on this than they will on the Monk, and then they will even on the Zen, because the Zen has a very warm sound to it. It can get a little overwhelming at times with certain genres of music where you want more detail, because it eschews detail and it says, okay, I'm going to make something sound really nice, make something sound really mid-forwarded, really rich and deep sounding. This doesn't do that. These are more neutral. This has less bass than the Monk and the Zen. This has, but that doesn't mean it's crap bass or anything like that. No, it's there. It's just it's not turned up as much, and it doesn't extend low as the Zen or even the Monk. Yeah, even the Monk extends a bit lower than this. So basically, not much bass extension compared, and not much mid bass boost compared. What this does do is, this is like a Monk Plus on steroids, except for the bass part, because the mids on this are so clear, and they are so well separated and so detailed that, yeah, I will compare that to the Zen in a way, but the Zen is a more mid-forwarded and warm sound, while this is more relaxed sounding. These are for classical music, in my opinion. If you want to listen to some classic rock too, these are great for those genres. If you want to listen to pop music, no, I would not recommend these at all. If you want to listen to vocal music, yeah, you can definitely go for these. Now, the part about being a middle kid is, okay, if you have $100 and you want to buy something from VE like an Earbud, you can't buy a Zen for $100. So you're like left there thinking, oh, I have the Asura though, I can try that. Yes, you can, and the Asura is a great purchase, but it's not, the wow factor of the Zen isn't quite there than the Asura. Like, you have the Monk, the wow factor of the Monk is a bias that you will have when you are told the price. You put them on, you're told the price, you're like, okay, how good could they be? Wow, these are great. Okay, all right. The wow factor of the Zen is that it sounds like an open headphone to me and to some other people as well. The wow factor of these is not much. There's really not much. In fact, it's probably hard for Lee to even market these, because middle of the line, it still sounds like an Earbud. Like, the mids aren't rich and tonally forward and warm as the Zen, but they are very clean, and they are basically what the Monk's mids are, but elevated to just another level of detail above. A little more, a little slightly more natural sounding. Because what I would say about the Monk is, even though it sounds really nice, it's not the most natural sounding sound. The Zen does sound very natural, but it sounds a bit muddy sometimes because, well, first of all, you can't put any foam on it, and secondly, some genres of music are just too bassy for it. So this is much more neutral, much more clean. The clarity and cleanliness of this, the tonal balance of this, is such that you might think, okay, this sounds really nice to me. Still sounds like an earbud, but it still sounds really nice. I just wish there was slightly more bass. I haven't tried EQing any more bass on this. I don't really want to because I don't want to disturb any of the, like, I know the Monk. I remember the Monk Plus when I did my review. I talked about how I could EQ it. This, not so much. So yeah, basically that's it. This is a clear, very clear sounding earbud. This has more body to the mids than the Monk, but not as much as the Zen. But it's a cleaner sound than the Zen, better for more intricate genres such as classical music. And this can be run from your DAP if your DAP has a slightly decent amp. So these can be, fully portable. You don't have to carry around a portable amplifier for these, which you absolutely do with the Zen. However, if you want to talk about the whole balance of sound, if you want to talk about, let's, because I already mentioned the Monk has more bass, has a slight bass boost than this. The bass in this is quite. If the bass line of a song falls into the region where this is, you can hear it quite well, it's very, very sharp in a way that reminds me a bit of my HD 800. Not as sharp, obviously, but it has a certain crispness to the bass line, the bass guitar, if you hear it on this. The mids are not warm, they're very clean, very neutral, but they are very, like, if you're listening to a song with a lot of vocal overlayers, you'll hear them all quite clearly, in my opinion. They won't sound lifelike or anything like that. You won't hear the 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 start and the end. Like, you won't have that lower mid emphasis where you can hear the breath being taken just slightly before that whole thing. But you will have a pleasing experience with vocal music. Now the treble does not get sibilant, I'm glad to say. The only time I've really ever encountered any sibilance in a VE product, Earbud, has been in the original Monk if you're on higher volumes. But this, no, it doesn't get sibilant at all. It does have some good treble extension though. I would even say this has more treble extension than the Zen. Yeah, actually, I would say that because the Zen has a slightly, because it has a warmer sound, right? This treble is slightly rolled off compared to this. This goes further. So, like I said, over more air at the top end of this, which is great for stringed instruments and all that. So, I know I've really summarized that part of the review, like the whole bass mid sound, but I've been talking about the cleanliness and all that for so long. I thought I might as well add that in too. So, that has been my review, and thank you for watching.